At the very top of the world lies a land so vast and untamed that it feels almost mythical. Greenland, a name that suggests greenery and warmth, is in reality a kingdom of ice, silence, and extremes. It is the largest island on Earth, stretching over 2.1 million square kilometers, yet most of it remains locked beneath a colossal ice sheet that covers nearly 80% of its surface. In some places, this frozen blanket reaches more than 3 kilometers thick, preserving ancient air and climate records from hundreds of thousands of years ago. If this ice were ever to melt entirely, global sea levels would rise by nearly 7 meters, redrawing coastlines across continents. But Greenland is not just a frozen wasteland. Along its jagged coastline, dramatic fjords slice deep into the land. Glaciers slowly carve mountains into sculptures, and icebergs the size of skyscrapers drift silently into the Arctic Ocean. Fewer than 60,000 people live here, scattered across small coastal settlements with no roads connecting them. Only boats, helicopters, and small aircraft link one community to another. Beneath this frozen surface lie some of the oldest rocks on Earth, dating back 3.8 billion years, remnants of our planet's earliest formation. The air here is among the cleanest on the planet. The silence is almost overwhelming. Superpowers have debated its strategic value. Scientists race to study its melting ice. Explorers have risked their lives crossing its interior. Yet Greenland remains indifferent, shaped not by politics, but by wind, ocean currents, and relentless Arctic forces. This is not just another destination on a map. It is a living, breathing Arctic giant. And to understand our planet's past and future, we must first understand Greenland. Nearly 4/5 of Greenland lies within the Arctic Circle, a region where nature operates on a different clock and survival depends on adaptation. In winter, entire towns sink into weeks of near-total darkness as the polar night takes hold. Temperatures plunge far below freezing, and icy winds sweep across frozen fjords with relentless force. The ocean locks into solid ice. Mountains disappear beneath snow, and daily life continues under dim artificial light and shimmering auroras overhead. Then, almost unbelievably, summer arrives, bringing the midnight sun when daylight stretches for 24 hours and shadows vanish from the land. Snow begins to retreat from rocky slopes, meltwater rivers carve through valleys, and the tundra reveals subtle bursts of green. But even in summer, the climate remains unforgiving. Storms can rise without warning, sea ice shifts unpredictably, and isolation defines existence. There are no highways connecting Greenland's towns. Travel happens by boat through icy waters, by helicopter over vast emptiness, or by small aircraft navigating unpredictable weather. This rhythm of darkness and light, cold and thaw, has shaped not only the landscape, but the resilience of the people who call this Arctic frontier home. At the heart of Greenland lies one of the most powerful natural forces on Earth, its ice sheet. Covering roughly 80% of the island, this immense frozen mass is second only to Antarctica in size and holds enough water to reshape global coastlines. From above, it appears endless, a blinding white desert stretching beyond the horizon. But this ice is not static. It moves, slowly flowing outward like a frozen river, feeding hundreds of glaciers that carve their way toward the sea. When these glaciers reach the ocean, they fracture dramatically, releasing massive icebergs in thunderous calving events that echo across fjords. Some of these floating giants rise more than 100 meters above the surface, their true mass hidden beneath the waterline. Beneath the ice sheet lie mountain ranges, valleys, and even subglacial lakes, a hidden world buried under kilometers of frozen time. Scientists drill deep cores into this ice to study ancient air trapped inside, unlocking climate records that stretch back hundreds of thousands of years. Greenland's ice is not merely scenery, it is a global climate regulator, a frozen archive of Earth's history, and one of the most closely watched systems in the modern scientific world. Despite its harsh climate, Greenland is far from lifeless. In fact, it is home to some of the most extraordinary wildlife on the planet, species perfectly adapted to one of Earth's toughest environments. Along the northern coasts, polar bears roam sea ice in search of seals, their massive white forms blending seamlessly into the frozen landscape. Musk oxen, survivors of the Ice Age, graze across tundra plains with thick coats shielding them from brutal winds. Arctic foxes shift their fur color with the seasons, while seabirds crowd dramatic cliff faces during the brief summer months. Offshore, whales migrate through icy waters, humpbacks breaching against mountain backdrops, narwhals gliding beneath sea ice with their spiral tusks, and seals resting on drifting ice floes. Every creature here has evolved for endurance, conserving energy, navigating extreme cold, and synchronizing life cycles with the brief Arctic summer. Greenland's wildlife tells a powerful story. Even in the coldest corners of the world, life finds a way. Long before modern borders and satellites mapped the Arctic, Inuit communities mastered this land through knowledge passed down across generations. For thousands of years, they navigated icy waters in handcrafted kayaks, hunted seals and whales with precision, and built seasonal shelters designed to withstand brutal winters. Their deep connection to the environment is reflected in language, art, and storytelling, where the land, sea, and sky are not separate elements, but living forces intertwined with daily life. Traditional practices such as dog sledding remain both practical and symbolic, representing resilience and heritage. Even today, in modern settlements, Greenlandic identity remains closely tied to Inuit culture, expressed through festivals, carvings, music, and oral traditions. Survival in Greenland has never been about conquering nature. It has been about understanding it, respecting it, and living in balance with its rhythms. Around 1,000 years ago, Norse settlers led by Eric the Red arrived on Greenland's southern shores, establishing farming communities in what must have seemed like a harsh but promising frontier. They built churches, raised livestock, and traded with Europe for centuries. Stone ruins still stand today, silent reminders of their presence. Yet by the 15th century, these settlements mysteriously disappeared. Historians debate the reasons: climate cooling during the Little Ice Age, isolation from trade routes, overgrazing of fragile land, or conflict and cultural shifts. Whatever the cause, the Norse story in Greenland remains one of history's enduring Arctic mysteries, a powerful example of how even determined civilizations can struggle against environmental change. Nuuk, Greenland's capital, offers a striking contrast to the vast wilderness surrounding it. Home to nearly 1/3 of the country's population, this small Arctic city blends colorful wooden houses, modern institutions, fishing harbors, and cultural centers beneath dramatic mountain backdrops. Despite its northern latitude, Nuuk pulses with creativity and growth, from universities and art museums to music festivals celebrating Greenlandic identity. Fishing remains central to the economy, particularly shrimp and halibut exports, while new infrastructure projects aim to strengthen tourism and global connectivity. Nuuk represents a Greenland that is not frozen in time, but evolving, balancing tradition and modernization in one of the world's most remote capitals. Daily life here remains deeply tied to nature. Fishing boats still leave the harbor early in the morning, returning with shrimp, halibut, and cod that sustain both the local economy and global markets. Hunters continue traditional practices in surrounding fjords, while younger generations balance modern careers with ancestral heritage. In Nuuk, you might see a snowmobile parked outside a contemporary office building, or traditional Greenlandic clothing worn during national celebrations alongside modern fashion. It's a city where past and future exist side by side. And perhaps what makes Nuuk most remarkable is its scale. With a population smaller than many small towns elsewhere in the world, it still carries the responsibility of leading one of the most strategically important regions on Earth. Surrounded by mountains, sea ice, and vast wilderness, Nuuk stands as proof that even in the high Arctic, urban life can evolve, carefully, deliberately, and in rhythm with the land. On Greenland's western coast lies Ilulissat, one of the most visually spectacular locations in the Arctic. Nearby, the Ilulissat Ice Fjord, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, channels massive volumes of ice from one of the fastest-moving glaciers in the Northern Hemisphere. Here, colossal icebergs break free and drift slowly into Disco Bay, sometimes remaining trapped for years before continuing southward. The sound of cracking ice echoes across still waters as sunlight refracts through blue crystalline walls. Standing beside the ice fjord, scale becomes almost impossible to understand. The ice does not simply sit in the water, it moves, slowly and constantly, like a frozen river traveling toward the sea. Some icebergs drifting through the bay began their journey decades ago, formed high inland before ever reaching open ocean. Their surfaces glow in shades of white and deep blue, carved by pressure and time, each one shaped differently as currents rotate them through the water. Every few hours, the silence breaks. A deep crack echoes across the fjord, followed by a thunderous collapse as part of the glacier fractures and falls into the sea. The impact sends waves rolling outward, rocking boats that wait at a careful distance. For a moment, the air fills with mist and shards of ice, and then the stillness returns, as if nothing happened. These events are not rare spectacles here. They are part of the landscape's daily rhythm. At sunset, the entire scene transforms. Low Arctic light turns the ice gold and pink, reflections stretching across perfectly calm water. What felt immense during the day becomes almost surreal in the evening. A silent world of drifting shapes moving toward distant oceans. Eventually, these icebergs will melt far from here. But their journey begins in this quiet fjord, where Greenland's frozen interior meets the moving sea. Eastern Greenland is a realm of dramatic mountains, vast fjord systems, and sparse settlements separated by immense distances. Scoresby Sund, the largest fjord system in the world, stretches hundreds of kilometers inland, carved by glaciers over millennia. Further north lies Northeast Greenland National Park, the largest national park on Earth, a near untouched expanse of polar desert, glaciers, and Arctic wildlife. Few people ever venture here. These are landscapes of silence, scale, and raw geological power. Places where nature dominates completely and human presence feels temporary. In these remote regions, distance is measured less in kilometers and more in days of travel. Settlements are separated by vast stretches of mountains, sea ice, and open water, and weather often decides when journeys begin or end. A calm morning can turn into a wall of fog within minutes, hiding entire coastlines and forcing boats to wait patiently for visibility to return. Here, schedules follow nature rather than clocks. The mountains surrounding the fjords rise sharply from the sea, their slopes carved by glaciers over thousands of years. Waterfalls pour from melting ice high above, falling uninterrupted into dark Arctic waters below. During the short summer, patches of tundra briefly come alive with moss and small flowers, attracting birds that migrate enormous distances to nest along the cliffs. Then, as temperatures drop again, silence returns, and the land freezes back into stillness. Standing in these landscapes, it becomes clear how small human presence truly is. The scale of the mountains, the endless ice, and the uninterrupted horizon give a sense that the land will remain long after footprints disappear. Greenland's remote east and north are not just places on a map. They are reminders of what the planet looked like before modern civilization spread across it. Greenland is warming faster than much of the planet, and its melting ice sheet has become one of the most critical indicators of climate change. Scientists monitor glacial retreat, sea ice decline, and rising temperatures to better understand the future of global coastlines. At the same time, Greenland's mineral resources and strategic location between North America and Europe have drawn geopolitical attention. It is a land at the center of environmental urgency and global interest. What happens here will not stay here. It will ripple across oceans and generations. Greenland is no longer just a remote Arctic island. It is a front line of the planet's future. Looking across Greenland, it becomes clear that this island is not only a place of extremes, but a place of balance. Ice and ocean, darkness and light, isolation and connection. Every element exists in tension with another. For centuries, life here has depended on understanding those balances rather than trying to control them. The land rewards patience and punishes haste, shaping a way of living that moves at the pace of seasons rather than schedules. Yet even as change accelerates, Greenland remains profoundly resilient. Storms still carve the mountains, auroras still dance above winter skies, and the long summer sun still returns after months of darkness. The island reminds us that Earth is not static, but living, constantly reshaped by forces beyond human timelines. In the end, Greenland is more than a destination. It is a perspective, a place that reveals how small humanity can feel and how connected the world truly is. Long after visitors leave its shores, the memory that remains is not just of ice or cold, but of standing at the edge of something vast, ancient, and still unfolding. Greenland is only one chapter of Earth's story, and many more still remain.